I don't like the word hacks, but strategies of learning to delegate. Was it just trusting another person, or is it, like for me, a big part as I continue to grow is I don't need to know all the details. That's what I'm going to hire the expert for.
Yeah.
How did you make that process or that transition of going from trying to do many things at once to delegating much more than normal?
Mm-hmm. In my case, when I first had my revelation, I was promoted to a manager, so my first time of managing a small team, and I had to give performance reviews for my team members. And I gave one of my team members not the highest rating, but the whatever was right below that, right? And he wasn't happy about it. We debated it kind of during the performance review, and afterwards he escalated it to my boss. My boss and I talked, and what I discovered, I'll skip through kind of the process. I discovered that the reason I gave this guy a not perfect rating but one below is because he didn't do his tasks the way I would have done them. He accomplished the result that we needed, but he didn't do it the way I would have. This was very enlightening to me. The fact that, and because I was a pseudo-perfectionist at the time, maybe less so now, I think, and I thought my way, because I had had success. Now, I was an expert in the function that I managed. I was an expert and I'd had success. I learned that there are different paths to a desirable outcome. In fact, a different path than I would take might lead to a better outcome. Then the game changed for me. Observing an employee taking a different path, not knowing how it's going to work out because I never did it that way, and how far down the path might I let it go? And do I see they're about to fall off a cliff? And so this became kind of a personal game with me, allowing those to play out, even into uncomfortable moments for me, just to see, is there a revelation that there is a different way to do this? That was my learning experience for figuring out how to delegate.
That's extremely useful, because I know a lot of people, and myself included, I did this all the time with just programming. I would have a way that I thought it would be done.
Yes.
And then there's that tendency to want to look over the shoulder and see if it matches your path. But a lot of the times, especially if you hire somebody smarter than you, they'll get there a different way.
Oh my goodness. So I have a computer science degree, but coding is a great example of that, because I remember one time on an assignment, it happened to be just right in my sweet spot, and I spent time thinking about it first. My buddy just dove straight in and started writing code. And when we finished, he had 1,500 lines of code. I had 365 or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was kind of that ratio.
Yeah.
And as we both finished, he asked me a question, like, hey, how many lines was yours? I was, 365. He's like, what? I'm like 1,500. How did you do that?
Yeah.
And those of you that are listening to this that are coders, you will understand and appreciate that. If you've ever been with a master developer and you watch, it's not just lines of code, it's just the brilliance in the way that it's done, and you realize, especially in development, there's probably 10 ways to solve any particular problem, right? That's a good example.